What's happening, people? Michael, Vintage Diesel Equipment Service. It's towards the end of the summer. It's warm, but less miserable. Look, I'm not even a sweaty mess yet. It's late in the day. Well, I guess we're going to start with traffic. And we're way out in the country, by the way, folks. So, what we have today, for your viewing pleasure, is a Bobcat T590 skid steer. This particular unit is circa 2016. And what we will be doing is a couple of things. One, we're going to service this unit. It's been a very long time since this unit's been serviced. In our particular example, we are at the end of August 2023, and this one was last serviced 3/18 of 2022, some 18 months ago. How many hours were on it now?
636 is same for current job.
Let's cycle that, because there's actually another set of hours that should show you the whole time on the unit. I'll get back with you on that. Maybe I'll post the number of hours somewhere in here. Now, this unit was having some problems. Originally, I was told that it had a low voltage issue, and it did. They had a battery, and really hot. Week before last, every day was like, sorry for the traffic, folks. Every day was like 110. No joke. Welcome to Texas. So it killed a cell in the battery. We had to take it and get it exchanged. And after that, we found out that, well, the starter that was on this unit was really tired. I guess it'd been through a lot. And it was replaced. And then we still couldn't get the unit to crank. We found out that there was no fuel in the filter. Well, we thought we might have had a filter problem originally, because there was some fuel in the filter, and whenever I let the water out of the bottom, and it did have some, we decided that the filter was so old, considering how long it had been since it had been serviced. Oh, okay. By the way, back to the service. Well, give us a second. There it is. So this unit had 9,083 hours on it. Well, I'm sure you people have checked your manual by now, and you know how long it should be between oil changes. So 1,636.5 hours is probably overdue by a couple changes, or 3. So we went ahead and changed this filter. We will not be changing this filter in this particular video, but I am going to walk you through the process. But I want to give you enough explanation to understand where we are with this unit. Okay, so we went ahead and changed that filter. By the way, when you buy these filters, if you have the old style, it's actually only $12 more to go ahead and get it with the new top. And then you'd have to worry about your set screw. Maybe somebody come in behind you with the bleed screw and kind of, boogered it up pretty bad, which we dealt with and decided it was just better to get another one. But with that said, even after we changed that, this unit wouldn't get fuel. So we thought, hey, maybe the full fuel sending unit's bad, And we went ahead and we filled this dude up. It didn't take much. It was like 5, 6 gallons, 7 gallons, and it comes spewing out the top here. And as soon as it did, I had the primer bulb unhooked and it shot fuel out. And I thought, how odd, maybe it had a clog. Hooked it all back up. They ran the unit for a little while, and then I got a call. Hey, low voltage. Okay. So on the way down there, we just decided that we was going to preempt everything, and we picked up a new alternator, thinking, you know, this dude's just not charging. Well, come to find out it had low voltage because they kept trying to crank it after it died with a bucket full of dirt. And they kept trying to crank it and trying to crank it until, well, the battery went low. So when I got on site, not knowing that, I went ahead and put the new alternator on, tried it again, and lo and behold, it wouldn't crank. And I squeezed the old fuel bulb, and you can see how it's slow to fill right now. That means it's still picking up fuel. There's enough fuel in the tank for it to run. But if you wind up in a situation where yours just won't crank and run and you can't figure out what's going on, and your fuel bulb is really easy and it just pops right back out, that dude's getting air. So let's go give you the what's going on, okay? You've probably already guessed it. And if you guessed that it was your fuel pickup tube, big round of applause. Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. You know, tell everybody how great you are. For the rest of you, it's okay. Not that big a deal. You may have a couple of different pickup tube parts that you can come up with. In our particular case, Bobcat did not have the hose. So what you need to do is go ahead and buy your tank filter. And this also has a one-way valve. Basically, it has a ball in it that only allows the fuel to go this way. Sorry about the traffic, folks. It only allows the fuel to go one way so that it can't, whenever it's not running, back off and lose its prime. Pretty brilliant, really, when you think about it. So you're gonna need this. You're gonna need about a foot of hose. Okay, maybe a little bit less. And I recommend another grommet. And if you can get another 90-degree fitting, probably a good idea. In our case, they didn't have it. So we're just gonna make sure that that was cleaned out. But you need to check. You need to check that and make sure that you don't have a piece of something in there, because you could wind up with trash inside that thing, and then you're still gonna fuel starve, even after it's finally picking up from the bottom of the tank. You also probably be a good idea to check your primer bulb and make sure that it gets good flow, okay? So we'll walk you through how to change that. Let us get set up, and we'll show you how to service this thing. Everything minus the fuel filter will be changing, but we'll walk you through how to do it. So let's get set up and we'll go from there. All right, so before we can begin on our fuel pickup tube, the first thing you're going to need to do is inside any of these skid steers, anytime you have to raise the cab, and that's what I'm fixing to inform you to do, you're going to want to raise your cab. Now, with that said, in this particular case, it's optional if you want to raise up that and lock it out. But if you do, make sure to actually lock it out, okay? Don't take risks with your life. All right, it's not worth it. However, to get the cab up, it's really a simple process. You have a nut here, and then on the opposite side, you have a nut here, along with a flat washer, you'll see. And you're gonna remove both of those, and then you can lift the cap. So I'm gonna put you on time lapse, and you'll see Damon do just that. All right, folks, I'm gonna do my best to explain this in a cohesive manner. What you're looking at, essentially, this is your 90-degree barb that fell off. And as you can see this little piece right here? That was what's left of the original pickup tube, still connected. So you're gonna wanna pull that off, all right? And go ahead and pull off your old grommet if you picked up a new one, which you did, right? I recommend it. So let me explain this process a little bit though. You're gonna want to lube this with something. You got some WD-40 or something like that, that'll work. We might just stick it in some old motor oil or something. You're gonna slide it down, okay? So you'll have this on. You're gonna put this on, right? Seems straightforward, but we'll just do it together, shall we? Yes. Now, WD-40. Okay. Important to remember the orientation of your grommet, okay? Filter, it needs to be facing this end, okay? Squirt, squirt. Doesn't take a whole lot, okay? Again, remember your orientation. This needs to be going down into the tank, okay? Now, since this is not the dinky little clear hose that Bobcat sells, or even that tiny little black piece of Plex tube that they sell for this, either or, it is not, repeat, not going to be an easy fit inside that grommet. I am not a little guy. It's going to be tough, okay? Now, you want to take your razor blade, cut off your old grommet. See why I recommended getting a new one? By the way, you will need a razor blade sharp enough to cut the grommet. This might be a problem. Oh, I heard it and I felt it. By the way, I can't bother to point out enough how you need to be safe about this. Your fingers are here, so take more precautions than you see me taking. You know, do as I say, not as I do. All right. Once you get it cut enough, you should just be able to grab it and tear it in half like that. So, off with our old grommet. Nice long barb. Okay, so we're gonna slide our barb in, right? Making sure that this stays low enough because what I'm fixing to tell you next is pretty important. Again, always got to be a phone call. All right, so I recommend you keep this hose a little lubricated, okay, to where you can move this back and forth as you need. Because have I got news for you? When you get all this over there, and this is ready to put in now, okay, so he's going to show you the spot. Damon's going to show you the spot here in just a moment. This is not going to be an easy procedure in our particular case, because there are 3 lines and 2 of them are directly above our engagement. So make sure you've wiped off around your tank. You should have done that before you pulled this out. If you didn't, shame on you. Wipe it off now. So you're going to need to this in the tank, work it down. Notice how far I have this away from that barb. Why? Because if you try to slide this up onto this barb and then go into the tank, I don't care how strong you are, you may, given a long enough time period, finally force this thing in. But I'm going to tell you something, it's going to be hard, and I don't recommend it. So what I instead do recommend is having it a pretty good far way down, away from the barb. Put this into the tank, push your grommet in first, then push your line the rest of the way down into your barb, okay, until it's flush with the square part, okay. I'm just trying to tell you, it's going to make life a lot easier. So with that said, I'm going to hand this to Damon. He's going to walk you through the rest of this. First things first, we're going to let him get over in here. Okay. Hey Damon, something you could do, bud, is go ahead and pull out our rubber shield. I hate to do it before we do our discharge, our charge filter, just because we wanted to show them that process part of the deal. But what we can do is just put that back if you want. So, but if you can get to it without it,
I can get to it without it. The shield there, yeah. That's fine.
Well, you want to take the camera and show them, folks. Again, I'm sorry about the traffic. You know, take the camera, this one here.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna get a light for it because it's not very bright in there.
Forward thinking. See, he's going to show you where the location of this is. Now, this is in reference to the T590. So this is pretty much for all of these skid steers, folks, but
right there.
For the 590, it's very specific to it. Okay, you see where that's at? It is not a fun location. So, all right, we're gonna let Damon go ahead and do that. I'm gonna stick you back on the good old time lapse while Damon gets that back in the tank. Here we go. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got that pesky fuel line issue taken care of, and it's picking up fuel like a champ. Yeah, it's good now. So with that said, we've let this unit run for about 25 minutes, as you should before you do any service. Damon's over there getting ready to do our oil collection and whatnot. And with that said, we're fixing to shut this unit off. One more thing we noticed that we need to address. I'll point it out after I shut this noisy thing off. So let's do that now. Silence. I bet you just heard that. See that? Blades are loose. the bolts to the cutting blade. They're on the bottom of the bucket. So we're gonna need to tighten that up too. Another thing we just noticed is this unit is in dire need of more tracks. So while the owner orders those, we're going to go ahead and handle everything else to do with the service of this unit. So that's oil change, air filters, hydraulic filters and fluids, and of course greasing the unit. And I'm going to pump these tracks out a little, but not in a whole lot, because those tracks are not in good shape. So with that said, let's walk through a few things. So tell you what, if Damon, could you grab the filters out of the bed of our truck and put them on the tailgate for us, and I'll be right back. I'm going to walk them through a few things. As we pointed out earlier in the video, you're going to want to take your bolts out, okay? You're going to want to raise this cab up. All right, your two nuts, the two large flat washer plates that they use, and then you're going to raise up your cab. So let's raise up the cab. Give me just a second. All right, now, of course, make sure your lockout is locked. Mine is. Okay. In this particular case, you got 4 bolts, okay, to this plate, and you have 2 straps, one here, one over there, one underneath, and then this shield will pop out, giving you access to the line you're going to need to drain your hydraulic fluid and to change the charge filter. Okay, then you're going to come to the back of the unit. Now, I've already removed my cover, but something you're going to want to do, you see there's 2 straps here. Okay, so you're going to undo your 2 straps like so. You're going to raise that up just like that. See all that? You should clean that out too. Now we'll get something to hold this up, but you want that up so that whenever you're draining your hydraulic fluid, that kind of assists. Now, your hydraulic filter has 2 filters, the one over there that I just showed you. Oh, but I haven't showed you yet. Here's one filter. Make sure you wipe this off really good. 2 bolts. This is going to come off, and then there's an element type filter. Okay. Here's your reservoir for your hydraulic fluid. Okay. And as you notice, there's a little gasket there. You want to make sure to wipe that all off really well. We don't want any of that getting in there. Okay, so that's where you actually put your fluid back in. We're gonna give Damon a second while he gets set up there and gets his cover off.
You got this drip in here.
That's the AC.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the condensation vent. You know how on a car, Damon was just pointing out, and you're going to notice this on one of these closed cab units, that when you go to work on it, when you raise it up, these drip. Yep, it's going to happen too. You're going to raise it up and it's going to drip on you. I'm sorry, but it is what it is, right? So Damon's got a drain pan there, and for good reason. He's got to get his little rubber strap off of the bottom. Alright guys, so there is no other strap on the bottom. It just slides back and then out of your way. Let me just set this over here for now. Okay, and now you can see that filter right there. So you're gonna have that filter, and then that line right there that he just put his hand on, you're gonna want to put a pair of vice grips on that and clamp that off, okay?
Be careful with this. This is hot.
Kind of over. Oh yeah, be very careful of that pump, that charge pump.
I just found that out the hard way.
It's very hot. It will burn you. But take your pair of vice grips and clamp this line off, okay? And then you're gonna take another pair of pliers and kind of wiggle your clamp off, unless you got some really strong fingers. You're gonna pull that clamp off, have your drain pan there so you can catch whatever runs out of the pump, okay? And plus, whenever you change that filter, you're gonna need it. So, give it just a second and Damon's gonna show you how it's done.
I have the drain pan there for that one.
I mean, a bucket, yeah.
There's all buckets right there.
Sweet, look at that. When you're helping us what they're doing. See? One step ahead of me. Way to go. Awesome. You know, the way this is set up, I don't see why you need to take this shield off unless you just want it for a little bit more convenience. You can work that hose right through here.
Right through it, yeah.
Right, so we're just gonna get us a bucket over here and get the lid off while he gets his line ready. Okay, and as you can see, he's already got his clamp off. He's fixing to reach up there with his vice grips and clamp his line off about where that clamp is right now. Are you hearing me?
Where that clamp is?
No. Up here,
oh,
up here where you're.
being silly.
There you go. Make sure it clamps the line shut.
Oh, it's gotta go way tighter than that.
There you go.
That might be enough.
Oh, he's doing good. It's off. Excellent. So if he can stick that hose right out this window.
Trying to stop this thing from draining. It's still going.
Oh, you're gonna have to hurry up with it because you didn't get it clamped off very good. And just stick it over here where I can shove it in this bucket.
Ooh, I need to clamp it off tighter, apparently.
If you try to take that off, it's gonna get real bad.
All right, I'll just
bend it or something. Bring it over here as fast as you can. Try and go low. Oh! Okay, come on. That went horrible. Oh. Okay, all right. Take your vice grips off.
ain't that fun.
There you go. There you go. All right. So now
that would have been easier with the shield off.
you're gonna want to get it draining into a bucket. Then you're gonna want to get you a oil filter wrench, of course. Undo your filter like he is there. Spin that dude out of the way. And make sure you match up a good filter.
Oh, that is hot.
Alright folks, so after that finishes draining out, you're of course going to want to hook all that back up, make sure you secure your clamp, and then you can spin your filter on, making sure to date it and put how many hours on the piece of equipment. This piece of equipment has went some time without service of any frequency, with many hours. So that said, we are going to continue on, but yeah, there's a little glitter and whatnot inside the hydraulic oil. It's not a good scene. So, but now what we're going to do is, of course, change that filter right there So you've already secured the other filter on?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, excellent, not a problem. Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna go ahead and get that filter on after we date it and list the hours. And then we're gonna move on to air filters and whatnot. So I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and show you what you're looking at as far as air filters and where that is. And where that is very simple. This is your air box. There are 4 clamps. There's another one there and another one over in the lower edge. It's kind of hard to get on camera. Okay, and I'll just see if I can. There we go.
I assume the one you're doing back there is the lube filter.
The air filters is what I'm going after right this very second.
Right, I'm talking about the lube filters back there too.
Yeah, we've got a hydraulic filter element back here, and then we've got our oil filter. I guess they list it as a lube filter, kind of oddly. But as you can see with the air filter, this one's nasty, by the way. There's your large main filter. And then there is your inner element. It does list on this particular unit, but maybe yours is no longer visible, but you do want to wipe the inside of the airbox out as best you can, especially in our particular case where it's very dusty. This unit was in a very dusty place. The construction site was, well, it's Texas, folks, so it's basically a desert anywhere where there isn't grass.
Do I need to pour oil into this filter?
So no, not in that case where it's sideways, you do not.
Okay.
So, all right, give us a moment. We'll get the air box wiped down good. Then we'll put our new filters in and close that up. And then we'll get started on our oil change before we begin starting to put fluids back in. Here we go. All right, folks, so right now Damon's fixing to run the old drain line, which I'll show you a little better about that, through an access where you have to remove a small plate. On the T590, it's going to be like this. In this particular case, it uses 9/16 bolts. If you have a 630, it's actually going to be over on the end of the unit. It'll be over here through this little hole on the side of the unit. Okay, but otherwise it's underneath it. You're going to run it out like that. You're going to want a backup wrench, and then I like a socket. Use the boxed in. Anytime you can use a boxed in, folks, always do so. Is that wrench loose? That's the wrong size, bud. Next size down.
Yeah.
Just like that. There you go.
Okay. I'm waiting for you to. I don't just.
Alright.
Well, that.
See if you can do it with your hand now. Oh yeah. There you go. Now you can get your wrench out of your way. Ooh. Get your wrench out of the way and put that thing down some.
You.
Oh my.
That is gross.
Dame, go ahead and open that yellow open plug right there. See it?
This one right here?
Yep. Go ahead and open that. Taking it off.
It should start flowing out.
Yeah. Oh, that is bad looking, y'all. That is some of the thickest and worst I think I've ever witnessed. Alright.
We're gonna need more buckets?
Hold that bucket just like that. Should be all you need. I'll pull that dipstick and let it come on out. Alright, so we're gonna let that drain, and then we'll get to our filter. So, here we go.
Oh.
Okay, folks, so
It's already loose.
after you get your oil drained, which he already has, and you tighten your drain plug back on, which he already has. Go ahead, hurry up, unscrew it and just get it off there. There you go. Alright, is what it is. So they're actually going to power wash this unit later, so we won't worry ourselves too much with that. So go ahead and get our other filter and we'll spin it on. And
where'd you set it at?
I believe it's still on the tailgate. I'm going to take a slightly damp cloth. We're just going to reach up into this air box. Give it a little wipe. Much better, much better. All right, now we'll just take all our air filters away too, and he's gonna coat his little rubber ring with some of that used oil over there.
What about some of the new oil?
No, you can just use some of the oil. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
All it's doing is, and I guess that's a good question to ask. The only reason you're doing it is to give it something to seal against. But at the same time, whenever it's time to change it, whether it's you or the next guy, they don't have to struggle so much. Plus, if you didn't lube it, you run the chance of it tearing that or creasing it, and then you have a leak. So don't do it like that. There you go, just a light little ring, a little coat on your ring, and then spin your filter back on, give it a little tighten, and then of course, don't forget to date it and put your hours. Just like so. He's just gonna take his little wrench, give it a little quarter turn. That's good. Excellent. Good deal. So now he'll date that and whatnot, and we'll just go back and stick those air filters in. No need for us to show you that on camera. And next we'll get our, next we'll go do our hydraulic element, and then we'll be ready to fill it back with fluids. Here we go.
Oh,
okay folks, so
it's already loose.
After you get your oil drained, which he already has, and you tighten your drain plug back on, which he already has, go ahead, hurry up, unscrew it and just get it off there. There you go. Alright, is what it is. So they're actually going to power wash this unit later, so we won't worry ourselves too much with that. So go ahead and get our other filter and we'll spin it on. And
where'd you set it at?
I believe it's still on the tailgate. I'm going to take a slightly damp cloth. We're just going to reach up into this air box. Give it a little wipe. Much better, much better. All right, now we'll just take all our air filters away too, and he's gonna coat his little rubber ring with some of that used oil over there.
What about some of the new oil?
No, you can just use some of the oil. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
All it's doing is, and I guess that's a good question to ask. The only reason you're doing it is to give it something to seal against. But at the same time, whenever it's time to change it, whether it's you or the next guy, they don't have to struggle so much. Plus, if you didn't lube it, you run the chance of it tearing that or creasing it, and then you have a leak. So don't do it like that. There you go, just a light little ring, a a little coat on your ring, and then spin your filter back on, give it a little tighten, and then of course, don't forget the date and put your hours. Just like so. He's just going to take his little wrench, give it a little quarter turn. That's good. Excellent. Good deal. So now he'll date that and whatnot, and we'll just go back and stick those air filters in. No need for us to show you that on camera. And next we'll get our, next we'll go do our hydraulic element, and then we'll be ready to fill it back with fluids. Here we go. All right, folks, so it is the next day. Time got away from us yesterday, and unbeknownst to ourselves, we had a little part discrepancy, and we learned something, so we're going to share it with you. So if you happen to have pulled your filter, you know what, while I'm saying this, let me just
what are you looking for?
maybe not. I was going to get the old filter and show them.
You didn't have it anymore?
Oh yes, we threw it away. Anyway, so you get your old filter out and you get your new filter, and it looks weird. It's not big and round and doesn't look like that where it can fit in. They haven't given you the wrong filter. They haven't. What's happened is it's time for you to change the lid. Okay, this is the new style. It's the new thing. And see the little notch? See, it only goes one way. Well, it's hard to do while holding a camera, but look, it's notched. It only goes,
should be, well,
there it is.
There it is.
Okay, so just like so. Make sure you put your new accompanying O-rings on there, and probably be a good idea to wipe them with a little bit of oil, and then put all of that back in, and then you can just discard this old one. Now, one thing, an observation I've made, this could have just been a simple money grab by Bobcat, possibly, maybe, but at the same time, see these springs? That suggests to me it's going to do something to seal it, but maybe it's not. Okay, I really don't know, but nonetheless, that's what you're going to need. Anyway, he's going to pop that in its place. Then we're going to top this thing off with fluids, and really that's going to have the bulk of the service done, except for we still have to grease this thing, and we are going to walk you through. We're going to walk you through all the grease locations. All right, everybody, so as you can see, we've already got our fluids in and we've moved it. So after you've done that, I recommend you raise your lift arm up in the air, put your support brace on, such as this. You're going to need some help. You're going to need a second person. Take the time. Do it, because you'll be in danger otherwise. And then you're going to go for all the Zerk fittings. Okay, so let's start in the back, and we're going to do one side, and it's going to be exactly the same on the other. Okay, so starting in the back, you have one here. Okay, so on the very back of the lift arm support, or on the very back of the lifting arm, you got one here. Going up, you have one here. Okay. Excuse me. All the way down, you have one here that goes all the way up your hydraulic shock. You're going to go up and inside. There is one right there, if you can see that. Okay. Following your support arm, here's another one. This is going to be the same bar that your lift arm support bolts to. At the opposite end, you have one here. Okay. Now, you also have, and we'll be doing a video on this, by the way. We are going to be doing a video of how to do the tracks on a Bobcat skid steer. On this Bobcat skid steer more specifically. And there's the new ones right over there. So make sure you check out that video very soon. But if you're just looking to do some maintenance on yours, take out the bolt here and here, pull off the side cover. There's a Zerk fitting in there, and that's going to be your track tensioner, and you use that to adjust your tracks out. Okay, so make sure you bolt that back when you're done. All right, and you're going to do that. Do all of those Zerks on both sides. Then at that point, you're going to have a Zerk on your bucket here. Okay. You're going to have another Zerk on the top of that hydraulic cylinder up there. Okay. You have another Zerk right there on your pull handle. All right. For the hydraulic cylinder, if you have a quick release. All right. You're also going to have one here for that release on your bucket. And you should have one more at the top of that cylinder up there, okay? And that's gonna be all your Zerks. All right, now in our particular case, we got to replace a headlight on this unit. They're not much concerned about their windshield wiper. But with that said, that's going to have everything that you really need to service on these units pretty well squared away for yourself now. So with that said, thanks for watching Vintage Diesel Equipment Service. We appreciate you for watching. Make sure that you click that like, the subscribe button. Maybe click that little bell. Helps you get notified whenever we got a video coming out. Maybe consider becoming a member. We'd sure appreciate you. Until next time, folks. Have a great one.